This ABC 15 News Update is sponsored by Sanderson Ford, America's best-selling Ford dealership.
I'm Faye Fredericks with your top stories from ABC 15 Arizona. An update to a deadly hit-and-run investigation from overnight. DPS says a 39-year-old woman was hit and killed on the westbound 202 near Scottsdale Road. Troopers think she may have been hit by a commercial vehicle and then again by other cars, but the investigation is ongoing. Updating our breaking news from Thursday, Mesa police arresting 18-year-old Peter Claiborne III for the murder of a high school football teammate. Investigators accuse Claiborne of shooting and killing Jeremiah Aviles on Sunday. Court documents reveal Claiborne and a witness lied to investigators and tried to blame someone else for the shooting. But officials say they found a video showing Claiborne pointing a gun at his teammate right before the shots were fired. We talked with Jeremiah's father and sister after police announced the arrest.
You could have came forward and this could have been avoided, bringing so much pain and grief to families and friends, even your own teammate.
If it was an accident or not, whatever the case may be, you know, my brother thought that was his best friend or a very close friend, you know, teammate, somebody you could trust. So it was upsetting that, you know, he kind of got betrayed.
Mesa police tell us the two teens were classmates and teammates on the Red Mountain High School football team. Two people found shot and killed inside an apartment near I-17 in Dove Valley last night. Phoenix police say the victims are a man and a woman. Homicide investigators are now working to determine what led up to the shooting. No word yet on a suspect. Many Arizona lawmakers say the federal response to the ongoing border situation is not enough. Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema talking to ABC 15 political reporter Mark Phillips yesterday.
What do you see happening, Senator? Everybody is kind of like, it's going to get worse, it's going to get worse, but it's really hard to put a finger on what that actually looks like.
Well, unfortunately, Mark, we've seen it before. I think many Arizonans will remember back in 2021, when Border Patrol and ICE were releasing migrants just into small communities. You probably remember the same day I do, when the mayor of Gila Bend put migrants in his personal vehicle and drove them to a shelter in Phoenix. Now, that's a crisis. And that is exactly what we're facing again, with potential street releases in towns as small as Naco, Arizona, with a population of less than 900. No bus stops, nowhere for these individuals to go. That's the level of crisis that we're facing.
Democratic Representative Raul Grijalva sending out a statement earlier this week that reads in part, it's critical that the Biden administration lead a centralized response in coordination with state and local governments and should immediately assign additional dedicated personnel to process people seeking protection at ports of entry. Congress must act now to surge funding for resources and personnel for administrative and humanitarian needs. Thanks. Definitely getting into the hot season now. In tonight's Impact Earth report, going green to stay green. Golf courses in Arizona have been tasked for decades with figuring out ways to cut their water usage. The most drastic cuts and changes implemented in just the last few years as Arizona's water supply began to run dry. Now, some valley golf courses are replacing some grass with desert landscaping, cutting back on how much and when they water. Reclaimed water is also being used to keep the fairways green.
We certainly know that if we're going to be good stewards, that we have to make these changes and figure out a way to use less water, be more efficient in how we use it.
Right now, more than 200 golf courses in our state use about 2% of the state's groundwater supply to irrigate the courses.
Tracking your forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Amber Sellens. We continue our warm-up as we head into Mother's Day weekend. Tomorrow, up into the upper 90s here in the Phoenix metro area around 4 p.m., topping out at 98 degrees. We've got a warm and dry day on tap as high pressure builds in out to our west. That ridge, though, getting shoved farther north in the days ahead as low pressure forms to our south. And this area of low pressure is going to meander down just south of Arizona for several days, keeping chances for showers and thunderstorms in our forecast through Mother's Day and all of next week. So this is playing out very similar to how our monsoon plays out, with daytime heating forcing the moist air to rise and causing thunderstorms to fire up across our state. High country spots will see the best chances and a slight chance in our valley forecast here for several days in a row. And again, this all begins on Mother's Day this Sunday. Triple digits will be back by then too, but we are tracking a cool down into the lower 90s by Thursday.
For the latest headlines, weather, and traffic, head to ABC15.com or download the free ABC15 mobile app.
This ABC 15 News Update is sponsored by Sanderson Ford, America's best-selling Ford dealership.